Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy Sunday, everyone. Thank you for joining again another Sunday Live with Gordana and myself. How are you this morning or today?
Hi.
Or
yeah.
yeah.
Hi, everyone. And hi, Lucas. I'm so glad to be back on Sunday Live. I love these Sunday Lives.
Yeah.
And today we are going to speak about something that is really close to my heart because my book is all about this. And this is how we walk through life using synchronicity. So we're going to talk about cause and effect, and we're going to talk about how synchronicity is connected to that. And we're also going to talk about how to tap into the magical and creative flow of synchronicity, how to find that flow. So I'm so excited for this Sunday Live today, and I hope everyone else is too.
Yeah, same. This is, I think, such an important idea to talk about, this cause and effect, because it can take away, if people really understand it, take away the victim mindset, and it can really bring us back into intention and our purpose and being the leader of our own life, which I'm so excited to get into and talk. When we were talking about this earlier the week, I was moving my arms a lot because I saw one time that we just default, because there's not physical matter in front of us, think that there's nothing between us. Even where you and I are, it's air and all these things. We think air is nothing. But I was sitting in ceremony one time and I saw the denseness of the air. I could see what it was, and I was in it, and if I moved, I couldn't get away from it. And it felt like when we're underwater and we push our arms underwater and you feel the waves and the ripple, and that's what it felt like in the air. And I realized, of course, there's nothing in between us. There's hydrogen, oxygen, all sorts of molecular structures in the air. We just can't see them, which means this is all one big field to play in. So if I push my arm out, a ripple happens out. If I open myself up, it comes into me. And that was a really beautiful lesson I was shown, because it took away the things happened to me, but I realized I'm in a dance with all that is.
Yes. And what you're talking about here is the oneness that is so hard to grasp. Usually, I mean, I can feel that I'm separate from everyone else because my ego tells me that I am. But at the same time, if we look at it on a quantum level, I mean, where do I end on a quantum level, and where do you begin? There is no definitive border where I end and you begin, which means that there is nothing, or there is something between us, between each and every one of us. And if I do this, then it is felt somewhere on a quantum level. It is felt somewhere. And it's so funny that you were talking about these, waving your arms.
Yeah.
I was talking about the butterfly effect with my husband this morning, because we were going to have this Sunday Live. And I asked him, what do you think about this butterfly effect? I mean, if a butterfly does something with its wings, it can start a typhoon or a storm or something else somewhere else. And I was thinking, that's really how it works. And at the same time, as I was saying this, I was looking down in my iPad, and one of my followers, Mystic Butterfly, just liked my tweet at that exact moment. And I was like, this is a sign. This is so beautiful, because this is exactly what synchronicity is about. This is exactly what cause and effect is all about. So it's so beautiful that you talk about the oneness, because you have to understand the concept of oneness before you can understand how synchronicity actually holds everything together as a glue, like the infinite glue that keeps everything in the right place in time and space. That is what synchronicity is. I was also thinking about one other thing when we talk about cause and effect, because this thing has been something that has been hard for me to grasp, cause and effect, because if you look back at it, where does a cause start and where is its effect? If everything is now, then cause and effect kind of implodes into the synchronicity instead. So it's a funny concept to think about this cause and effect. How far back do you look for a cause? And then I realized that synchronicity is the effect, and the intelligence, the deep intelligence, this intelligent formless field that we're talking about, or God, or quantum field, whatever we want to call it, that is the cause. It creates the cause, and the synchronicity in this world is the effect.
Yes, that's right.
And that's where I can find my truth, because I can't understand you. As you know, I have this problem of looking at time as linear. I always look at it as, well, in all other ways than linear. And cause and effect says that it has to be linear in some way, because you do something here and then something else happens here, which is effect of what you did there in time. And I don't feel that it works that way, because how far back are you going to look for a cause? It's the butterfly effect again. And how far back in time are you looking for a cause for something that you're feeling right now? So that's how it kind of implodes the time too for me. So it's an interesting concept
And
to look at.
on the flip side of that, that's what I mean, that it can really help us break away, humanity break away from the victim mindset, because we're always, if we're always looking at what's the return versus knowing that every cause that I put forth has a return. So if I choose good and beauty and love and kindness and compassion, and I'm constantly putting that out, whether it comes immediately, the return that I was hoping for or would desire, or it comes later on, it will come. It's an impossibility not to have the return of what the cause is. So that's where the karmic law, or the sowing and reaping law, and most people say, oh, you're working out your karma well, or I don't like what I'm reaping, life's hard. And the question is, well, then what are you sowing? It's not what are you reaping? What would you like to sow? And let us sow differently, and let us understand that we are all empowered fully to sow and to cause whatever we want, whatever. That's the this field.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Because what you're talking about here is the frequency that we're talking about every single Sunday live. It's about the frequency that you're sending out.
Yes.
And when we talk about synchronicity, it's what I have come to understand, because I do love this subject of synchronicity. What I've come to understand, that there are two types of synchronicity here. There's either positively perpetuated synchronicity, and then there is negatively perpetuated synchronicity. The main thing here is that synchronicity is always at work. This is how the universe creates all that we are looking at. It does this through synchronicity. So what do I mean by positively perpetuated synchronicity and negatively perpetuated synchronicity? Well, let's say that you don't want to go to work, or you are tired. You are saying yes to things that you don't want to have in your life, and you feel like a victim. So you walk outside, and in the stairs, you fall down and you break your leg. That is negatively perpetuated synchronicity, because the universe will break your leg in order to make you understand that you need to stay home. You need to say no to things, because otherwise you will be bargaining with your soul here. So stay at home. And if you don't know how to do it, then the universe will do it for you. It will break your leg and put you in your home, so that you have to say no. There is an excuse for you to say no and rest, so that you can find back to your true frequency. Positively perpetuated synchronicity has to do with you being in total joy and in bliss, and seeking excitement in this world. And the universe will bring you exactly that. You will find exactly what you need when you need it. So it's kind of, good luck and bad luck in it.
Yeah.
But it's still connected to you. And I'm not saying that you're guilty of breaking a leg, but it's a question of understanding, why did this happen to me right now, and not outsourcing the why, keeping
Yes.
it here and saying, okay, maybe I need to learn something from this. So what is it telling me? Well, it's telling you, stay at home, say no to things, and rest, because that's what you need.
That's right.
So the positively perpetuated synchronicity and the negatively perpetuated synchronicity is really important to understand. And also to understand that there's synchronicity going on all the time. Nothing, literally nothing in this reality happens the same way 2 times. Everything, every action is unique, because not even a machine, doing this, because everything around it changes all the time. Everything is in constant change. So every single action, every single cause is unique here. There is no repetition. Even though I wake up in the morning and I think, oh my God, the same day again, Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a question of me seeing the differences, looking for them in this reality. That is how this positive synchronicity is perpetuated, when I start looking for it, because what I look for, I will find without a doubt. That's the connection between the inner frequency and the outer 3D reality that is created in front of me. So it's a really important notion to understand that there are 2 types: perpetuated positively and perpetuated negatively synchronicity.
These concepts, interesting. Like when, like it's infinitely out. We can go infinitely out, but we can also go infinitely in. You can never divide a number by half and get to 0. It's always going to continually get smaller and smaller, but it's an infinite universe in as without. What's mind-blowing about that is when we understand the cause, when we understand and take that self-reflection, and this is why, did I say this last week, but it takes humility to learn these truths. We can't just be like, oh, I know. And yeah, it really takes deep reflection of, why did I experience this? What did I choose? How did I choose it? What were my belief structures? Can I choose differently? Just simply even going down the stairs and knowing, perhaps being told at one point, hey, watch out, those stairs they're slick. And you're like, I got it. And then maybe the lesson is not to dismiss warnings or wisdom or whatever.
The signs, yeah.
The signs, exactly.
Yeah,
because they're
absolutely.
always, one of the things is, I always believe we're given signs. I don't think the universe is just like, gotcha, like, oh, sucks to be you. There's always something that, whether it was in our peripheral or our direct eyes line of sight, there's always signs. And we get to slow down as humanity and observe and listen and contemplate, so that when we choose the cause, we'll know the effect, or know the realm of the effect. We'll know, the gist of the effect. It won't be necessarily, if I put love into the world, I will reap love.
Absolutely, without a doubt. The signs that you're speaking of, that could be, if you look at the clock and you see 11:11 or 3:33 or 4:44, whatever it is, and it kind of brings you out of wherever you are in your mind, your ego mind, and you look at it and you say, that's a coincidence. Why did I look at the clock at that time? Well, it is because you're nudged into understanding that synchronicity is what creates the fabric of the universe. It is how this reality is working. It's like me talking about the butterfly effect and having a beautiful soul out there on Twitter, mystic butterfly, liking at exactly that moment. If I'm not aware, I will miss the opportunity to see how this world is created. This is kind of giving us a glimpse behind the veil of forgetfulness to see how the world is created. It is showing us the magic behind the curtain. This is how it's done. And it's so funny because I use this knowledge in order to get more knowledge from the universe. And I want to read a short chapter in my book, #Know the Truth by Knowing Who You Are, that is specifically about synchronicity. And I'll read it if you have patience with me to give you kind of a more understanding of what synchronicity is all about. Everything is interconnected, infinitely changing and manifesting through perfect synchronicity. For a while now, synchronicity has been playing an increasing role in my reality. It started calling my attention with mere coincidences and what are the odds situations. Then it got more daring, showing off in the most incredible settings. For instance, I would sit down, open a book, and with a deep, relaxing sigh, I would start reading. The first words I would see were, with a deep sigh. So it kind of showed me you're connected to this. Most people would say that an event like this is just a meaningless coincidence. But to me, it is the universe speaking through the language of synchronicity, showing me the entanglement of my inner psychic realm and the external physical world. It is also giving me a glimpse of the magic behind the scenes, the way everything is interconnected beyond the notion of time and space. The universe doesn't just hear what I say, it seems to know what I feel and truly believe. Through the synchronicity of such an event, the universe is showing me that what I ask for, it immediately and unconditionally answers. Beyond the smallest bits of physical matter on the invisible level of reality, I am interacting in a perfect synchronicity with a conscious universe, which from my earthly point of view makes the universe my partner in creation. Coincidence is just a disguise for something much more profound and magnificent. We experience synchronicity when our mind is opened and our awareness is heightened. It often turns up in our daily life as meaningful coincidences or a stroke of luck. When we are open to it, synchronicity pops up as signs that reveal the interconnectedness of our world and the boundlessness of our inner and outer reality. And Carl Gustav Jung defined synchronicity. He was the one that came up with with the concept of synchronicity. And he says, synchronicity is the coming together of inner and outer events in a way that cannot be explained by cause and effect, and that is meaningful to the observer. So usually synchronicity appears at random and seems to be at play when our inner thoughts and outer situations coincide in time, connecting against all odds in an apparently meaningful way. The peculiar thing about synchronicity is that it carries information that is meaningful to the observer, yet it cannot be explained in a rational way by a normal sequence of cause and effect. In other words, it connects you with the universe on a very deep personal level. I will let the passage from the Kybalion, a book about 7 principles of reality written by 3 unnamed authors and first published in 1908, highlight the invisible structure of chance and the connectedness underlying chance and coincidence. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for a law not yet recognized. Albert Einstein called this strange connectedness spooky action at distance, while quantum physics used the term quantum entanglement to describe the infinite bond between the smallest bits of physical reality. The more we allow synchronicity into our lives, the more meaning we find in random events, words, signs, and situations. And the easier it becomes to talk to the universe, because synchronicity seems to be the underlying pattern, or as it is expressed in the Kybalion, the law not recognized yet in the fabric of the universe. So viewed from a higher perspective, you are always at the right time and at the right place to experience what you need right now. I think that understanding the true nature of synchronicity and understanding that there is no such thing as chance. It is a question of what kind of synchronicity you are perpetuating in your own reality, to become more aware of your own frequency, but also to understand that you can affect the things in the outer reality by changing the frequency from within, because the universe or the quantum field or the formless intelligence will always listen to that. That is what synchronicity is all about. Also, the cause and effect, because you understand that the cause will always be here and the effect will always be out there.
As you're sharing this, first of all, that's such a beautifully written and easy to understand way to the spooky
action at distance.
Yeah, at a distance. Oh, that's a funny way to say it as well. But I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were talking about where the earth is going, and it's becoming more decentralized. But there's this also pull to centralize everything, which we are leaving this time, the centralized huge monopoly businesses, centralized conglomerates, centralized countries, and these packs, and everything becomes centralized on one end, and on the other end is decentralization. And he my buddy, who's brilliant business guy and very successful, he was talking about it's going to become more decentralized, but there will be some companies coming with us, he said, like AT&T and T-Mobile, these carriers of phones. And I said, I actually don't think we will have phones in the future. I said, every time I think of someone and then I reach out to them, they always tell me, oh, I was just thinking about you. I said, how do we not know that that is the truth of communication? Now we need to learn consciousness communication, and where we start having like, Gordana, are you there? And you're like, yes, I'm here. But I think we're moving towards understanding the full reality of synchronization, the full reality of cause and effect. And we're really asleep. The awakening is to the truth of the realm that we exist in, the world that we exist in, the ether, the quantum entanglement. All these things are real. And when they become real, it becomes more fun, where I'm not some random pinball getting just beat around in a pinball machine. And then if I land in something good, well, that's the way it is. It really helps us reclaim every thought that we think, every frequency we feel, every emotion, which is why I think meditation, healing, sound frequencies, all these things are going to be the most important where we are heading as humanity, versus being right, having a job, getting the, all the stuff of the centralized command. And it's a really beautiful, to some, maybe to me, it's a really beautiful idea of what the world can become or where we're heading.
Yeah, I so understand what you're saying. And it's funny that you should mention decentralized, because you are the center of the universe, and so am I, and so is everyone else.
Yeah.
If we look at this universe as infinite, or I don't know if the universe is infinite, but our true reality is infinite. Well, if it is infinite, then there is no one single center. It has to be that my awareness is the center of this infiniteness where I am in, and so is yours, and so is everyone else's. So in a way, it's decentralized because there is no single center, but at the same time, I am a center, and so are you, and so is every other awareness. And then all that is contained within that, so to speak. So this is what this decentralization is all about. You cannot outsource your power outside of you, because you are at the center of it. And I know that we want to see ourselves as nothing in comparison to the universe, and who are we to think this? But at the same time, if I cannot perceive it, then it doesn't exist. And it's the same thing for you, and the same thing for everyone else. So your point of awareness is at the center of this infiniteness, always. And so is mine, and so is everyone else's. And that is what oneness is, because we are communicating with each other through these centers. And as you say, we don't need a phone, actually.
Right.
We could just think, if we were more aware of how the universe works, we could be able to connect to each other on a very, very deep level where we don't need a device to do so.
Right.
It's a question of beliefs, but where we are right now, we do need the phone and we do
Yeah,
need this, and we can,
that's
I
right.
mean, that's how it is. But
Right.
at the same time, on a philosophical level, it is so that we're all a center somewhere
Mm,
in this universe. We're actually in the middle of it.
mm,
Because how would you otherwise describe something like infiniteness? Where are the boundaries? How would you measure where is the center? Because it's infinite, it continues everywhere. So it has to be my personal and your personal space that defines where the center in this infiniteness is.
that's a,
That was what I was doing when I was 11 years old, and I tried to find the outer rims of the universe. And I was thinking, I can't find it. It's impossible. It's pushing, pushing, pushing. It's everywhere, which means that I have to be the center of it.
mm, beautiful.
And if I am in the center of it, that means that it is there and I'm communicating with it in all directions, everywhere and at the same time, and we're all doing the same thing, so it will blend somewhere and we will connect with each other. That's the energies blending with each other. There are no borders. That's why I don't know where I end and you begin.
Yeah, that's right. Which is why
Mm.
when we all choose to be or recognize the light that we are, the goodness that we can
Mm.
bring, that we can emanate and increase our, not just
Yes.
the frequency, but the amplification of that
Mm-hmm.
frequency. I think sometimes we forget we are amplifying. I was talking to, I was sharing with you, we were talking about this, that when I was
Mm.
angry, even if I said nothing and I walked into a store, you know, you can feel the energy of this person is angry. I say nothing. I
Yes.
don't even look at anything. I might even smile and say hello, but the amplification of that frequency
Mm-hmm.
is felt. Well,
Mm.
when we understand that people can feel on the negative, how much more
Mm.
so can they feel on the positive? And
Mm.
so frequency and amplification, I think we get the opportunity right now, even in this call, even while everyone watching and sharing, you can detect the frequency that you want, change frequency, and then amplify like that butterfly. And
Mm-hmm.
soon it creates the world that we want to see, which is why
Mm.
Mahatma Gandhi uses the, you know, we say it a lot in this world, but be the change you want to see. It starts with
Absolutely.
frequency and amplification.
Absolutely. You know, there is a quote by Leonardo da Vinci, and he says, learn how to see, realize that everything is connected to everything.
Mm,
And I love that. Learn how to see, because we have lost the ability to see this. So we need to relearn, actually, to relearn the things that we've learned are not that way, to
mm,
understand that there is no border between us. We are connected, which means that the energy that I am emanating, I am the master of my own emotions and my own thoughts. And if I am not mastering them, then I am contaminating this energy, this field around me, which means that it will affect other beings. It's the butterfly effect here. It will affect other people. And there you have the effect. So you have to look for the cause of that effect. And
mm,
if you want to have a better world, this is why you need to change in order to see the cause of your change on the outside. There is
mm,
no other way to do this.
right.
So, and it always happens in the now moment. You can do it any now moment. It's not a question of planning for it in the future. It's actually to do it right now, to become more aware of where am I in my state of consciousness? What kind of consciousness am I in? Am I in anger? Am I in anxiety? Am I in fear? Am I in love or joy? And then allow that to come out and see what happens. Do an experiment, smile at people, prep yourself before you walk outside, listen to music or whatever you need in order to pump up your frequency, and
Right.
see how you are going to be met by people. They
Mm,
will see, they will feel it, because you mix with their energy. There is no border between you,
right.
not a real one. There is no limits. There's only information fields mixing with each other. And that's why this synchronicity is so important, because it works through this information field.
When I sat in ceremony and meditation and I saw the air, I saw what it was. I wish I could bless everyone with just a vision that we are walking through something at all times. I am breathing the field in, I'm expressing the field out. It is all that is. It is all. We happen to be in it. So when I with intention put forth love, the whole, obviously the rings, the eccentric rings are felt closer around me in my center. My neighbor feels more love than, someone on the other side, but eventually it gets there. So our job is to keep putting out goodness and beauty and love and kindness and being intentional with every thought, act, word spoken. And when we reclaim, and I think this is what humanity is doing right now in this time, is we are reclaiming, when we talk about sovereignty, it is not this anarchistic, I don't need others, there's no form of government. It's saying, I realize that everything that I experience is of my own frequency, and I'm reclaiming it so that I can create and choose and be and feel the life and the love that I really want, and get out of the current that sucks me down to this low vibrational frequency.
Yes, and you touched upon this, because we were saying that we were going to talk a little bit about how to tap into this positively perpetuated synchronicity, and intention is everything here. Everything. First of all, you have to ask yourself, what is my state of consciousness? And then if you don't like your state of consciousness, then it's up to you to change that, because no one else can do that for you. It's only you that can change your state of consciousness. That meaning you are the one that is feeling the emotions. You're the one that is thinking the thoughts. So you need to become aware of where you are in your state of consciousness, and then to set an intention and keep that intention. Let's say for me, for instance, it can be, I want to see love wherever I go. My ego will go, well, you can't that, because people are angry right now, or people are frustrated, or people are this, or people are that. Well, this is my ego speaking, stopping me from shooting that arrow of my intention out there and changing the frequency. When I can ignore my ego and say, shut up, I want to see love out there. I will look for love wherever I go, or I will look for joy, or I will look for people who are kind, or I will look for people of the same frequency as me. You can put that intention any way you like. And you walk outside and you will see that this synchronicity, this bond between your frequency and the formless intelligence out there, will bring you exactly what your intention is. It has to be true and it has to be pure. You can't lie to yourself. You can't say things that you don't mean. You actually have to mean them, mean it. And when you do that, your intention has to be fulfilled, because it has to do with your free will. It is you asking a question, and it will always be answered. So the intention, it's really the most important thing. If you want to change the cause out there, you need the effect, you need to change the cause, which means that you need to heighten your frequency, to change it in the way that the things that you want to see out there, you need to do them yourself. So if you want to have more love, you have to say, I will see love wherever I go. And it might be just in a butterfly, but still there is love and beauty and something of a positive synchronicity going on there. And that's how you start it all. I usually set an intention in the morning when I wake up, because that's a good place to start. The day has not yet begun, so you can start to set an intention and to kind of move this positive perpetuation of this synchronicity, or the perpetuation of the positive synchronicity by an intention. Yeah, go ahead, Lucas.
Yeah, we both heard this. What I was gonna say, it's intention truly is, like we're saying, everything. Intention of the cause, but also the outcome. I find that when when I had my employees in my company and I would talk about what does success look like. And I wanted them to envision what the intended outcome will be, not just the intended beginning of the cause. It's the beginning and end. We can really think through what does success look like in anything, the day, the encounter, the time, so that when we go and begin that cause, we can really see through the end effect that we so desire. And then to realize that it's already happened. And so when we set our intention, we're going into a meeting with someone or got to give a talk or whatever it is, whatever the event is that we are perhaps nervous about, setting our intention, this is what I want the outcome to be, realize it's already happened. It's our job just to walk it out and experience it. So it takes away the low frequency of fear or worry and keeps us in that state of, I set my intention and it is, therefore now just trust, I guess, is the right thing, and go through it. And because I always feel like there's this, even though we're the center and we're the stillness observing all around us, there's also a move we can sometimes move through, but that's just our awareness moving through the energy that is also there in that present moment. Does that make sense? I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, because what you're talking about here is to kind of choose the path of least resistance in it. And the path of least resistance is where you don't experience as much fear, because you trust that whatever comes your way, you'll either be able to handle it or it's not as important as you thought it was. Right. So what you're talking about here is the trust that, since you know that whatever comes your way is of a positive frequency, then it's okay for you to stand in that frequency. So it leaves you, it kind of strips off the fear and the bad vibes in it, and stops the negative perpetuation of synchronicity, because synchronicity is always there. You're always sending out something. So if you can kind of, find your way where there is the path of least resistance, that does not mean not to do things. That does not mean not to go through fear, but still find your way to calibrate the trust and the courage within you, so that you can go through it and know that whatever comes your way, you will be able to handle it. That's how you set this intention of a positive perpetuated synchronicity. Yes. So I love that. I usually do that when before COVID, when I used to do talks, and I used to send loving thoughts to everyone that was going to attend the venue or attend my talk. The night before, I would send positive thoughts to them and I would welcome them. I would almost envision them coming through the door, and I would say hi to them and be really welcoming. And there are some of them that really felt that they could come back to me after the talk and they would say, you know what, I dreamt about you yesterday and you were welcoming me. And I'm thinking, yes, because I did that consciously. But it's about this, to tap into this synchronicity, to tap into this information field and to send out a thought. And the people who are more into synchronicity or more awake or more sensitive to these energies, they will hear you. So I didn't need the phone. I didn't need any device. I actually could send it out. And I love that notion of doing it. I always play this game with me where the night before I'm doing a talk or a workshop or whatever it is, I send out this frequency and see if someone taps into it. And at least 5 or 10 people out of 100 will feel it. So to me, it's evidence that there is some other way of communicating with people than through the phone.
Yes. It's almost like you can simplify. That's why wisdom is, these concepts are simple. They're simple concepts. They're very difficult sometimes to put into practice, or just to reclaim the awareness. But what we're saying is, what you are, that is what you will have mirrored back to you. How you be is what you will see. It's all, and it's constant, it's present. It's not like put a coin in the slot machine and I have to wait. When's
There
this?
is,
It's
yes, not random.
yes, it's
Yes,
not random.
it is not random at all. There is no randomness in this. It's just that we experience it as random because we cannot grasp the concept of synchronicity. It's an infinite intelligence holding everything together.
Right.
We cannot see it. We're not supposed to see it. Sometimes, as we say, we get glimpses of it. You can even play around with it. And here's another thing you can do to tap into the synchronicity, because I've been doing this for years. What I do is I ask a question, and then I go to my bookshelves where there are lots of books, and then I close my eyes and I pick any book from the bookshelf, and then I open the book anywhere, and then I start reading. And I get 99% of the cases, I get the answers that I need. This is how I want people to use my book too. They just open it and read wherever you want, and you will get the answer you need. I do this with all the books here, and it's become a really funny game for me because it actually speaks to me. The universe speaks to me through these books. And you can do this with anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be books, it can be something else. The key here is to be aware when the answer comes. You ask a question and then be aware or present so that you will see when the answer comes. Some people see the answer in numbers, as we say 1111 everywhere. I do too. I see the 1111. But some can do it the way I do it. Open a book wherever you are and then start reading and find the meaning in it. And you will. It's a bulletproof thing. I do it every single day. Have you tried that?
With your book, I have. I mean, I haven't, but yes, it's interesting you're saying like close your eyes. When we ask, we receive. But when we don't, and there's a saying, you have not because you ask not. And it takes courage, I think, to ask, or trust. And it comes back to this word trust.
Yes.
To ask takes trust. And then to be open to receive whatever comes back. So the awareness of trusting, I'm going to close my eyes, I'm going to select a book, I'm going to open it up. And then what is it for me to learn this? And you said the word game. This takes away there. I feel like it is the stripping away of this heavy, dense, low vibrational.
Yes.
And it takes a lot of energy from the powers that be to create that low density. I mean, it takes a lot of marketing, advertising. You're not beautiful enough. You're not this enough. You're too this. You're too. Think of the constant messaging they have to create to keep in this low vibrational field. But when we separate ourselves from media and devices and we get out of this and we're like, this really becomes fun. Someone, who has gone through a tremendous amount of dark abuse. And for so long, and speaking of myself, for so long, like everything, I was always attracting abusive men in my life, always attracting them, but always like, what is this? And then I healed and then realized that what I was, that's what I was attracting, because I was always expecting to, hold my identity as that's who I am. So of course I'm going to get this. And then when I heal, I'm like, well, this becomes fun.
Yes.
And when I know some thoughts come in, I say, no, thank you. Not the frequency I want. No, thanks. We're not going to synchronize. Adios.
Absolutely. No attention to the things that you don't want in your life. Of course, you need to look at them and say, okay, this is where I am, but no lingering, no dwelling in it, just for the purpose of saying, this is where I am and I need to make a change. You can't make a change unless you look at it, but no dwelling in it. And I do understand what you're saying here. It's so beautiful that you speak about the healing, because the synchronicity or the cause and effect we think that we've been abused as children, and then this is like it's set in stone because we're living the effect of that cause for the rest of our lives. And that is not the truth, because if you look at time as linear, you will be stuck in that notion that this happened to me as a child and this is why I'm acting the way I am and I can't change it. And that's not the truth, because there is this notion of forgiveness. Why do we see forgiveness as miraculous? Because it is miraculous. When you go back in time and you look at an event, the cause of your suffering in the now moment, and you can change your perspective and see the cause from a different perspective. That is where forgiveness can come in. And when you can see the cause differently, well, the effect is changed in the now moment. That's how quantum jump in time, and it becomes a loop instead of linear, which makes it easier for you to change things in the now moment. That is where synchronicity is really, really, you can see it, you can feel it. It synchronizes everything into this now moment where you own everything, including the cause, and you can do whatever you want with that cause. So forgiving or releasing or letting go, whatever method you want to use, will help you change the effect of something that might have seemed like a cause written in stone. But it isn't, because this is changing. It's a spooky, what did he call it? A spooky effect at a distance.
At a distance, yes.
Yes, but he's not talking about a distance in future or past or whatever. It's just a distance somewhere. So you can change whatever you want with that. And that is why we feel like atonement and forgiveness have miraculous properties. Because when you do that, you change the cause.
Yes.
In a way.
It's
what you said, when you heal. When you look back and you heal that, you've changed the cause, which changes the effect in the now moment. So everything is happening now. There is no past and no future. It always happens now.
Right.
And that's where the synchronicity is going on, because it connects everything to you exactly the way you need it in the now moment, including the past and the future.
This is where I think all that pain, all that trauma, if we can get to the place where we can see it as a game, and I don't mean to trivialize our experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, a game says there is a goal, and there is a counter force who's also choosing their objective and goal, and how we get there. It becomes the dance. You have to have the left for the right. You have to have the up for the down. And this is not bad or good. This is simply the way it is. So it is a game without trivializing, but healing detaches the anchors that keep us tethered to that low vibrational state. And it's like, then I can kind of float and rise for a moment. And without healing, without forgiveness, we don't really understand. I don't think it's hard, maybe impossible to understand the fullness of synchronization, because to forgive means foresight, foreknowledge, forbear. It means to do it, to see it before it happens. And the Hebrew word for love in Hebrew is ahava, which means to give without condition. So when we forgive, we can go back in time, or go back wherever that is, or even the event, and forgive as if we never experienced that. So our wisdom increases. The effect of that is no longer there. So then we can help others rise and say, we can all rise together when we go back and see, we're not stuck. We're not slave. We're not.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. I had the word slave in my mind when you were talking about slave to your past driving your past, setting your frequency so that it sets it sets the synchronicity in movement in your reality. And if you're not aware of what you're moving through the past with you all the time, then you will not be able to see why you feel like you were born under an unlucky star. There are no people that are born under an unlucky star. They might start there, but there's always an option in this game to change it.
That's right.
And why you want to, I think why you like this notion of the game is because nothing is written in stone. Everything can be changed. It's the willingness to change it. It's the willingness to lose the identity that we have from our past, to say, I no longer identify with that. It might be painful, because if I'm not that, then who am I? And that's your job to figure out right now, who am I? And as we said, this synchronicity out there will help you to perpetuate a life that you want to live, not a life that was set by the past or some other authority in your life setting it now. Because understanding that you are at the center of everything, always. That's not a self-righteous or arrogant way of looking at reality, because it's not about you owning everything. It's about you being in the center of your own world. You can allow other people to come into it. You can invite them. You can give from your world, but you must understand that you are at the center of it. No one else is. You are at the center of it, which means that so are you. And I respect your center, you respect my center, and then we can blend our energies in between, because we will always be in that center. No one can take that away from you. You are a center of awareness in time and space. And so are you. And what is the harm in blending the energies? That's the game. Blending the energies, saying, okay, I like that, I don't like that, I'll do this, I won't do that. And that is what it is. As long as we're not hurting other sentient beings here. And that's the whole point of giving love, is to be aware of this center, of be aware of the power that you have by the frequency that you send out. The funny thing is, I was talking about asking questions and opening books and getting answers. No matter what question I ask, I always get the same answer. And it says to me, it's all up to you. And it says it from inside out, which means that this is the center creating this out there. And my interaction with it, if it comes from love, it becomes easier. It will perpetuate this positive synchronicity where I will see more things that are in tune with my true self, so to speak, and my purpose here. So just grasping that you're at the center of it. Always. There is no other center. That's why everything else is decentralized. We are going into a higher consciousness here, and it might be painful when you grow. It can be painful, but realizing that it is okay, because you are at the center, grounding yourself in that center. You know how we talk about you being this center of awareness, standing straight, sovereignty. That is where we all need to go with our understanding of who we are, and recognizing that in each and every one of us. It's the same thing everywhere, awakening that in every one of us. That's what we need to do, I feel.
And those of us who have gone through the worst of the worst, or those who you said like feel like that dark cloud or that storm is born into it, think of the opposite of that. If you have experienced, or you are experiencing darkness, density, this hard push low, well, then on the other side, when you can detach and ask, you are here to bring the greatest light, the greatest love, the greatest good. And I think I've talked to quite a few people in disenfranchised groups, beautiful souls, and I say the disenfranchised groups in the world can be the greatest catalyst for healing in the world. Think of like the ones that have been outcast, the ones who have been wounded know the wound, so they can say, let's stop the wound, let's heal each other, let me hold you, let me help, where were you wounded, for you to create that. It's detaching from that low side, to take intention, to reclaim the sovereignty and center, and to say, wow, if I've experienced this low, and what is the opposite of this? There is a high waiting for me to explore. It just takes us being intentional, us asking, us being open, and then trusting and walking through it.
Absolutely. It's about understanding that every thought, every emotion triggers the universe into conspiring to give you what you desire.
Yes.
Or fear or worry about. It's about understanding where the center is, to understand where it comes from. And then it's not about being a police looking for any negative thought that is there and banishing it, or being afraid of it and saying, oh my God, I had a negative thought. It doesn't matter. There is a buffered zone. It won't give it to you immediately. It's a question of calibrating yourself into a place where you're actually looking for excitement in your life, looking for joy in your life, even if it is the smallest things. And I talk about this so many times because people say, well, it's easy for you to say you live in a country where everything is fine. It's not what it's about, because where I come from darkest of places. I mean, I've been an abusive childhood, most of my childhood life, so to speak. I was 19 when I left home. So I know what the darkness is. I know what not having money means. And I'm speaking from that space when I say this. When you can find the brightness in every dark thing that comes to you, that is how you start moving the positive perpetuated synchronicity in your life. You can be sitting in the darkest of places, and yet you're able to see a flower. You're able to see a cloud. You're able to see a cat or a dog or someone smiling at you, or you're able to find some positive thing in a book. And if you start focusing on that thing, even if there is darkness 99% of the time, still you have this 1% where it starts changing. Because look at the yin and yang symbol. There is an equal amount of darkness as there is light, and there is a black spot in the light and a white spot in the dark. This little spot is what starts the movement towards change. And this is what I'm talking about. When you can see the brightest side of anything that comes to you, that is when you're actually shifting from fear to seeking joy. Looking at the brightest side of everything, everywhere, wherever you go, you try to find the brightest side. And that's how you set this perpetual synchronicity in your life.
So beautiful. That's so beautiful. Well,
I mean, yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say this is not a hard thing to do. It's actually a mindset. You just set an intention that I will see the brightest side wherever I am.
That's right.
It's as easy as that. And I know that we've already gone an hour, and I don't know where time flies. When we talk like this, it flies. It literally does.
We've had beautiful Terrell and Lantern Hill, Morgan's, and TFT Tarot for today. Elizabeth, thank you all for joining. Shells, we had Anne, people from all over the world listening, and thank you all for listening. And
Lucas,
yes,
sorry, before we end, let's play a game, because we had the game here. So give me a number between 1 and 231, and I'll find it in my book, and we'll end this Sunday live with a truth thought from my book, a synchronistically found truth thought from my book, right?
Right when you asked, the number 37 came in.
37. Let's find number 37 and see what it is. This is our lesson for today. Here we go. Number 37 is: every time you deny a desire, ignore a passion, neglect a true calling, or silence a truth within you, your spirit fades. Follow your bliss.
So
I know.
oh, of course, that's so good.
Follow your bliss. That is, we
Yes.
end with follow your bliss.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.